Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad, SuperCoach Pro. Today's video, we're doing a team picker, updated side. Had a little bit more time to research some players. Obviously, this won't be the final team. I'll probably do like a team update during the preseason, then one before round one. However, just some off-season content. I'll be teaming up with SDS SuperCoach, Steve. We actually caught up the other day up in West Footscray, Whitten Oval. Realised it was closed, so we had to kick across the park down in Yarraville or something like that anyway. And yeah, we're discussing some plan for both our channels, doing some Wednesday content. And it might be different things each week. But yeah, you should see one this week, I'd say. You have to do Zoom and teach the old man, as myself, how to use Zoom, because I only use really QuickTime Player. That's beside the point. But yeah, so just a bit of extra content. We're bouncing ideas off each other for about 3 hours the other day. Talking so much nerdy SuperCoach. It was incredible, actually. Taught me out of a few things and, sort of put consideration into my brain about a few players as well, which is really interesting. Obviously, he's a Hawks man. I'm a Tigers man. I pretty much said to him, lock Taranto and Hopper on your side, as you can see. It is biased, but they will definitely do well. And then, getting some information about some Hawk players, especially rookies, is so vital with SDS. And just his knowledge about a lot of footy is pretty incredible. So, yeah, glad we'll be teaming up this off-season and throughout the season. So, yeah, good catch up with him. And glad we didn't get mugged in West Footscray. It's definitely a little bit different. If you haven't been there before, it's unique. Just call it that. Anyway, get stuck in the side. So, Tommy Stewart and Dawson really haven't changed out of my side. I think they're the main two I'm really keen on. You're looking for like a D3, I'd probably go somewhere like Dacos or Doherty really appeals to me this season. But there's not too many others I really consider at that price point. If I had to pick a smoky, it'd probably be maybe Angus Brayshaw. I know SDS is pretty hot on him. And so be it. Like you kind of convinced me. If I needed to start a D3, I'd have to go him. From what he's saying, might get some DPP and play midfield as well. So that's a good shout by him. So this is the whole thing about having these discussions with other YouTubers, and SDS bouncing ideas off each other like this is quite interesting, because I just said to him the other day, I said, I'm not picking Tom Mitchell even if he scores 160 in a preseason bracket, because he needs 40 disposals to go 110 plus this season, I reckon. And going Collingwood's game plan just isn't Tom Mitchell friendly, to be honest. Anyway, beside the point, Sicily is the other guy I'd probably pay up for this season if I had to, just because he takes the monopoly of kickouts. His position changes a little bit concerning, but I think the safe two this year, if you only had two defenders, would have to be Dawson and Stewart, for good reason. I explained in my other video. If you didn't already see that, go back and have a look. Bowes, you don't pay that price, that much salary for a guy you don't want in your best 22. So I think he gets games. Check out FootyWire. His statistics when he actually, before all the soft tissue injuries are actually pretty incredible. I don't care if he plays defence or mid. He plays mid, he gets DPP. So I think he'll get to at least 450, make 150k, and then just even get a full-on primo in defence, which is pretty easy to get these days. Just don't go Luke Ryan like I do. Goda, we've heard a lot about Goda. Played one game last year. Meant to get some game time this year, apparently. So yeah, these expensive rookies are better having expensive ones. So then if you do downgrade to a 123 player that gets some sort of smoky named, you've got an option going down and picking up one of these guys instead of having all 123 and then realising the green light before round one and you don't got enough rookies and you've got to trade out a primo to provide the rookies that are actually playing, if that makes sense. Probably explain that a little bit poorly. McKenna, surely he plays back there. It sort of might ruin Wilmot's, job security. But, this is just a rough team, 3 months out from footy. Whittle, SDS is hot on him, reckons he'll get a game. So I trust the man. He's a Hawk supporter, so he's got to be onto something there. And Charlie Dean, I think Moore's injured from what I've heard. So I'm sure he gets a game this year. Just see him slotting in there in the back line. Midfield is always going to change a little bit this season, but I'm still hot on going 5 deep primos in the mid, because I think the mids are the hardest to get in terms of buying a really good primo. I don't want to go for a fallen primo who's going to average 105, 110 for the rest of the season. I really want to get these top primos in and just watch them as my captains. So that's where I'm going to pay top dollar. I'm not going to go 4 deep. Even if we get to round 1, you will see 5 deep no matter what combination I do. At the moment, I'm kind of thinking to mix it up a bit and pick one player from each side, so I've got more captain choices than most. So Laird, I'm happy to pay that price. He might go down 20, 30k, but I think he's just so consistent. I'm not worried about Berry or anyone stepping in that midfield. I can't see Sloan slotting back in that much. You know, he's pretty old now. I think he'll play more of a half-forward flank role. And Miller, he's the number 1 man there, so I'm never concerned about him. He has a few games where he can get tagged in, which most primos do if you actually look at their statistics. I mean, Lockie Neal's one as well, a bit of a smoky. No one's picking him because of Dunkley, and I don't mind that shout. And if Hewitt and Walsh don't start, I'd be tempted to actually pick Cripps this season. So that's a bit of a shout. There's a few smoky midfielders that aren't in a lot of size or aren't going to be in a lot of size that I think we should probably talk about at some point. I think there's a vid me and SDS might do something like that. So Petrarca is another one. I just skip Bonds because Bonds is so well renowned for his goal kicking, and I just think he gets points for breathing. So I think he's one I'll lock in there. He's probably my only locked midfielder, to be honest. Petrarca, I couldn't forward Oliver. I think Petrarca's niggles of his knee and whatnot are done. And he's got the best 2 ruckmen tapping it out to him, so I can see him bouncing back this year, even though he's 6'18". We know he can get that 700k mark if he actually maintains his goal-kicking prowess and, smashing that midfield. So, Jack Steele, another one I'm actually pretty keen on. Probably Bonds and Steele, my 2 favourites for their price point as well. Miller would be 3rd in there. Steele had a shoulder injury. I think he dislocated his shoulder perhaps. Can't quite remember now. It's been a few months. But I think he's good regardless of what Ross does. Like, I just don't see Jack Steele playing anywhere else bar the midfield. And he's also, a good captain choice every day of the week, especially VC as well. Hopper, I don't need to speak too much about Hopper. I just think he's the main man there with Taranto and Prestia in that mix. I think Bolton and Dusty play more half-forward flank this season. I think they're more dangerous up there, whereas Hopper is your mainstay in Taranto. He's not going anywhere forward. I can't see it happening. We've got too many better players as a forward for them to go anywhere else. Ashcroft, he's sort of the one you could pick between him and a Giants player. I've gone blank. He's a second-year player. Now that those Giants engine room is depleted a bit, you might see him get some games. He's about 240. What's his name again? Finn Callanan. So he might get a gig. I don't got enough money to go up to him, but I think Ashcroft will play. I'm going to be concerned he does get subbed off. They rest him. So these are the things we've got to consider too, is which rookies are safe to play full minutes. So you probably want to pick players that are in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th season rather than first season players. But Ashcroft's just a jet from what we've seen his numbers in the underage stuff. So this is why I sort of like the Wilmots of the world, Charlie Deans. I think Whittle's a first-year player, but Phillips have all been in the system quite a few years. McRae especially as well. Johnson is second-year player, pretty sure. Sin second year as well. So I just think having players that more that 2nd, 3rd year, rookies that just didn't get opportunity due to injury or just anything really, some retirements coming out of those sides, you think these players are pretty highly rated. So hopefully they get some movements and, start playing for us, because I'm sure the rookies will pop up and some, that are hot at the start of the season won't even get games, and there'll be these smokies like Steely from Richmond who might even get a gig early on. You just never know these things. So rookies are always subject to change, so take them with a grain of salt. Nothing's ever locked in. Rucks, I'm pretty hot on Witts this season. I know he went back half, started scoring 80s and stuff, but you got to remember this bloke came off an ACL, didn't have any real preseason. He never averaged 100 before this season, which is why I didn't actually start him. But I just think he can do it. He's got Noah Anderson in there. He's got Took in there, which I should have mentioned first. He's got Rao there, and he's got other midfielders. around about. So I just think he's important. He doesn't really win his ball around the ground. It's more tap outs to advantage, and I think he maintains. I don't think he really goes below 580, 570. So I just want to start with him, set forget. He's a solo ruck, so I don't have to worry about that. English, I'd rather start because of his injuries. If I have to trade him out and sideways him, I would. I've actually sort of considered Grundy a little bit, which sounds kind of weird, but I think Gorn plays more forward and back this season, so I'd be a little bit tempted in Grundy this year. He's about 500 and something K. But the rucks aren't sold. But I don't want to do the other strategy I've heard a few people go for Darcy Cameron and then switch him forward. I just don't want to lose 20 points a week on someone that's starting Wits or Sean Darcy or some big dog. And then wait till round 13, 14 to bring in a ruckman when I've already lost 200, 300 points on waiting it out. I can't do that. So I'm going to go set forget as much as I can. If I see Roland Marshall named without Tom Campbell in there, I'll probably grab him instead of Wits. I'd rather value this season. I had Darcy Cameron in there. I know people were saying he's averaged about 100 to 105 without Grundy in there, but I think Mason Cox just... I watched so many Collingwood games last year, especially in the back half of owning Darcy Cameron, and just Cox started in the rucks so often, and Darcy would play forward a lot. And he seemed to get a lot of shin knocks, which really concerned me. He's not injury prone, but he copped one, and then they'd rest him forward for periods of the game. So I'm not sold on him. I'd rather, if he starts 2 games really well and goes 120, 120, jump on round 3. I don't mind doing that, but I'd just rather actually see it happen instead of him going 70 and 80. Scoring 150 over 2 rounds, and then Wits has done 110, 110. I'm already down 70 points in 2 rounds. That's how I see it. English, he gets the ball around the ground, enough of it too to score pretty highly. I think his games where he scored pretty average, it was coming off injury, coming off concussion, and all other things. Prusy knocked him up about. So I just think if you start him, you're not worried about wasting a trade to get rid of him. You've got 35 trades, I think. So it is what it is. Madden is going to be a lock, which sounds weird because he's just the right price. He's a forward ruck rookie at 102, and Giants probably got a lot of Saturday, Sunday games. So I think he's the ultimate oil pole. Even if a 123k ruck plays, I'm not going to worry about an extra cash cow because I think the captaincy points are more important, especially early on. Vice captain, I'd rather have a double chance at it this year. Dunkley Taranto, I think everyone's mainstays at the moment. I could see Butters and Rosie where I'd start one of those instead of Taranto. But being a Tigers man, it is exciting to actually own a player that might be relevant this year, which is rare for us in any season, to be honest. And 5-3-10, I think it's too hard to pass. At worst, he averages 85. At best, maybe 95, 100, and he becomes a keeper like Will Brodie. Would not surprise me at all. This guy's a Brownlow medalist, and people won't start him. However, if he does cop an injury during the preseason, I'm off him like so quick it's not even funny. I'll probably replace him with Oscar Allen and use that cash elsewhere. The remaining salary of that. McLean, sure he gets a gig this season. I would have been not too hot on starting too many dogs. That's why I've sort of cut Jones out the side. I consider McRae there, but I've already got Bonds, McLean, and Bruce. So I probably don't really want to be starting more than 3 or 4 players from each side. I mean, you can see I've filled up 4 players already of Gold Coast, and I don't really love that. But anyway, Ben King, people not liking key forward. I know George isn't hot on him because he reckons he's scored 20, 30s, 40s. Yeah, maybe a thing, but he's got Chol on the side now. Another year in the system. I know he's coming off ACL. It's a big ask. The midfield's good enough to deliver to him. I think Max King scored all right as a key forward. Got up to around 400k or something like that. Might be making that up there. Can't be bothered going on footy right now. But Josh Bruce is playing down back this season. So see what happens. I think this year's opportunity to really advantage those rookie forwards. I wouldn't be going, 6 of them deep like Oscar Allen at, let's say, F4 there or something like that, and moving 5 to F2. I wouldn't be doing anything too crazy. But I think it's definitely the year to actually top up in midfielders. Berry and Combin are just placeholders as well. Thomas Berry, obviously from Brisbane there. They traded for him, so maybe he gets a gig. And North supporters are saying Combin is playing round 1, they reckon. So sometimes you just got to listen to these supporters because they know more than what you do. I mean, I watched 7 or 8 games out of 9, or whatever is possible, really. Bit of a nerd when it comes to that. So I won't really know until the preseason games. I'll watch every preseason game to really get a good look, write some statistics about these players, and really find out who's hot and who's not. So that's the team update. Just before I go through it. And yeah, I'll be doing some extra content with SDS as discussed at the start of the video. So yeah, if you guys could like this video for me and start subbing to my channel as well. I don't really ask for that very often at all, but I'd just like to get over 200 before round 1. Feel like the channel is building up a bit, and you'll get much more content from me the more the subs go up. And yeah, hopefully you guys are doing alright out there. Hopefully you guys had a good New Year's. I went to a rave in St Kilda, which is unlike me, but yeah, this girl from Northern Ireland convinced me. I met her for about a month and a bit, and yeah, we went up there, and it was crazy insane. So I should probably do what Shorty does and some random Tinder stories. Probably not, because my parents do watch this channel, so there's only so many things I can say. But tell me if there's anything extra you want me to throw in my videos each week, if it is a random story like that or not. But yeah, hopefully you guys going alright. Got any comments? I always reply to them below. So anyway, peace out. I'll catch you on the next one.